Okay, looks like we allowed enough time for everyone to get signed into the session, so we are going to begin now. First, I want to say hello and thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to join our webinar for today. This is a webinar for marketing professionals, and for any questions out there, yes, this webinar is recorded, so you will be able to follow up with it later, and we will email out the recording. My name is Tina Mowen, and I'm with Dido. And today I'm going to discuss Google Apps and its use for marketing professionals. So we have a mix of attendants on this webinar session for today. Some of you I know are already using Google Apps, and some of you are just on the edge and a little interested. So we will learn about Google Apps, brief overview, and also look in depth about how marketing professionals specifically use Google Apps as well. So here's our agenda that we are going to cover for this session then. So we're going to cover 4 specific topics, starting with technology trends, and then we're going to look at what Google Apps is. And then after that, we'll look at who we are here at Dido so you can understand how our role fits into the picture. Just want you to understand what our role is and how we play in the Google Apps perspective as well. And then last, we are going to dive into some of the demonstrations and discussions. So we're going to look at marketing and the Google platform, where I'll be joined by guest speaker Donovan. So we're going to start off by looking at some of the technology trends. And with some of the technology trends, we're going to focus on the consumerization of IT. So now with this new way of living that we have, and by new way of living I mean all this technology that is integrating into our lives now, we often hear people ask, why can't I work the way that I live? Meaning you live with all these different devices and you get to pick and choose what type of devices and what type of technologies and cloud applications you use. And when you ask somebody to explain what they mean by saying, why can't I work the way that I live, you hear a lot about the tools that they use at work can often slow them down by limiting them to either certain devices, limiting them to certain places, or only being able to work with certain people. So maybe you're limited within your organization, or as marketing professionals, maybe you're limited to the people that you can reach. So when you think about this a little more, the underlying trends that underpin these consumer products also create an opportunity for business. So why can't we work the way we live? Why can't we incorporate these tools into our business world? So with that, I want to look at 4 specific topics. So we're now leaning towards the consumer web. So everyone's familiar with Google and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sure these all ring bells with marketing professionals. And as consumers, we have embraced the ways in which the web allows us to do more quickly, with more people. In fact, this has changed our expectations around how we find things, how we buy things or share, or even consume things. So I just want to give you some examples of these technology trends, specifically in the consumer web. So first, search. So I can confidently say that I can 100% guarantee that everyone is familiar with Google.com, the power of search. Perhaps you have different preferences in your search engines, but I know we're all familiar with that search. And with search, we have come to expect to find the right information in milliseconds, so right away. Billions of searches happen every single day. The second trend I want to address then is shopping. So we can order from millions of items to be delivered to our door the next day, maybe for our household, and this results in about 3 deliveries a week. And when you do all that math, it gets pretty intense. So the way that the consumer web is leaning towards that shopping experience would definitely affect how you approach your marketing strategies. Also with sharing, so we upload over 72 hours of video a day on YouTube, and we share millions of items every day across the web, across various social channels. We all know those trending videos that are going around the web, around YouTube, all the social media platforms. So we have that ability to share. So why not bring that sharing ability to the workplace? And then the last trend I want to just mention here is consumption, so to consume. We have games, music, video, and we expect those to be available immediately. So now when you purchase a book even, you don't necessarily go to the bookstore and browse the shelves. You do a quick search on one of the stores, maybe you're a part of Google Play, or maybe the Apple Store, or Kindle, or whichever, and you expect that information to be readily available. So having that available, or that availability instantaneously would be very useful in the workplace as well. And then with these trends, so search, shopping, sharing, the consumption, these trends, we are seeing a convergence then of the consumer world and the consumer web into the business world. So when I mean the business world, there are three macro trends that have really become pervasive here. So I have them listed on the screen, and these have underpinned the way we expect things to work today. So I just want to share these three examples here, starting off with cloud. Definitely a buzzword that is going around. I'm sure in marketing, these are buzzwords that go around often, the ability to share and store and generate data within the cloud. So with the cloud, Gartner predicts that by 2016, 50% of Global 1000 companies will have customer-sensitive data in the public cloud. So that's a pretty strong statistic, and it's really showing that transition and the convergence of bringing that consumerization of IT, so storing that enterprise data in the public cloud. The second trend here then is mobile. So in the US specifically, 96% of the population now has a mobile phone, with 40% using smartphones. So I'm sure we can all agree with that statistic. We can see that every single day. And this is how we are leaning towards in the IT environment. So all the money is to be made, especially within the mobile environment, because it allows you to take your information with you, whether it's a mobile phone or a tablet. I'm sure you can relate to this as marketing, or from my perspective as a sales professional, the need to have the data exactly when I want it. So we can see this being applied now to the corporate world. And the last trend here is social. So 1 in 3 young professionals prioritize choice of devices, apps, and social tools above salary. So this was actually one statistic that I was pretty excited to learn. I didn't expect this personally, but it really does make sense. We want to use the devices that we have grown accustomed to. There are people that are just heavy iPhone users, or people that prefer the Android devices. Maybe you have a specific tablet. And once you find a technology that works for you, you want that technology to work in your workplace. And as we think about business IT over the past 30 years, we can see certain patterns that have governed how we use technology. So I want to introduce these 4 specific principles. So these 4 new design principles we see our customers embracing as they seek to optimize and transform their business. So we looked at the consumerization of IT, and this is really the why behind it. What is allowing this to happen? So the first principle here is any team. So to get things done, we work with people across the globe, and not just in our own company, but everywhere. So you as marketing professionals often, or I can guarantee, are not limited to just within your organization. You're reaching outside of your organization, trying to target multiple audience categories and work across teams. Also, the idea of any time. So a project doesn't stop when folks head home at 5:30, whichever time zone you're in. Sometimes people continue to work, or they just need to get that one extra thing done, or you forgot about one little task that just absolutely has to get done. So sometimes that ability then to have that anytime trend will really benefit you in the workplace. And then also any place. So work doesn't have to be done from a predefined physical space. We increasingly find ourselves working from anywhere. So if you're traveling, if you're going to marketing events, you're giving presentations, if you are going to be maybe working from the beach someday, which I wish would be a possibility for me at this time, but unfortunately I'm not at the beach. And then last, any device. So for the above design principles, so on the screen here, the above ones, in order for them to work effectively, we need to have access to our work and the people that we collaborate with on any device. So because we already talked about all the smartphones becoming so popular and the mobile devices and the trend towards mobility, we need technology that is going to easily incorporate into any device that we pick up. So if you're in your organization, you want to give people the option to have either an iPad or an Android tablet or different types of mobile phones so you can hit the ground running no matter what point you are coming into the game at. So I just wanted to take some time to talk about technology trends because I think at this time we can all agree about the trend that technology is going in and the convergence we can see of the consumerization of IT into that corporate world. So at this time I want to take this main topic about technology trends to introduce some of you into Google Apps. So like I said earlier, I know some of you are actually veterans with Google Apps, which is absolutely wonderful. But I don't want to leave anybody out of the loop, so we're just briefly going to go over an introduction of Google Apps so you can learn about these applications. And for some of you that are already using Google Apps, you may learn a new application that you may want to dive into as maybe an added application or just one that you haven't used effectively yet. So what are Google Apps and the benefits? So Google Apps is a core suite of products. I have some of them listed here on the screen. Starting with Gmail, it's definitely a fan favorite in the consumer world, and it's showing its value now in the corporate world. It has that huge inbox size, and it allows you to keep your information and find everything with a quick search. And then hand in hand with Gmail is also Drive, Calendar, and Google+. And Drive allows that collaboration, instantaneous collaboration on documents. Calendar makes scheduling a breeze. And Google+ allows for that social, internal, and external collaboration, which we'll look at a little more at our demonstrations. You can also be connected instantly with Google Chat, so that comes part of the package. Google Chat to instantly reach out to your colleagues, your different team members, or even outside of your organization. You can discuss, moderate, and streamline workflow with Google Groups. And you can be secure with your message policy, your antivirus, anti-spam, with that security as well. And last here, you can keep what you need with Google's email retention, which would be that Google Vault. So here's just a brief walkthrough of the Google Apps Suite, just to give you that high-level overview of what is included in that Google Apps platform. And aside from these that I just mentioned, here's a look at some additional Google services as well. So some of these may be familiar to you, some of them may be new. We're going to explore some of these today, but if you have specific questions about any of these, feel free to let us know in the chat or the questions, and you can follow up with us individually as well if you just have a question about one specific topic. So some of the additional services are Google+ Hangouts on Air. So I do recognize some of the names in here today, and like I said, there are some Google Apps veterans in here, but I always encourage those that have been on Google for a while to start exploring Google Plus Hangouts on Air, because this is a way you can broadcast marketing events. Even if you were going to have an on-site marketing event, you could broadcast that over Hangouts on Air and have that automatically recorded and posted to YouTube. You can also use Google Voice, which allows for computer-to-computer calling or computer-to-phone calling. There's Google Video and YouTube. We'll look at a YouTube demonstration in just a moment. The Chrome web browser, the fastest and currently most popular browser in the world. So great browser to use when utilizing Google applications because it does have the best operability with the Google applications. Also Google Analytics. So with Google Analytics, it will allow you to do website tracking, and we're going to give you a demonstration about Google Analytics as well. And also Google AdWords, another additional service that you can get in here. The Google AdWords will allow you to increase your marketing face to your clients as well. We did have one question come through, and I do actually really like this question. Why isn't this webinar on Google Plus Hangouts on Air? So this question came through from Michael. So we did do this exact same presentation on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air. We wanted to offer it in webinar format as well because we understand sometimes there's hesitations to try something new. And as much as we like to show you that it has wonderful value, we did want to provide familiarity with this webinar as well. So if you are interested, we do have a recording of this on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air as well. So we did do that last week. So great question though. Okay, and of course, I just wanted to point out here that as of today, there are over 5 million businesses enjoying the benefits of Google Apps now. It increases productivity, brings teams closer together, and enables them to work anytime, any place, any device. So those 4 principles I talked about. And a trend is certainly evolving where businesses are leveraging the demands in technology and the need to work the way you live, so having those options. And of course, Google runs its billion-dollar enterprise on Google Apps as well. So a business signs up every 14 seconds for Google Apps, but one of the key questions is, how do they get there? How do businesses go Google? So that's where Dido comes in. I'll take a brief moment here to talk about who Dido is, just so you have an understanding of our role in the process and how we have become one of the Google Apps experts. So a quick little slide here just about who Dido is, so you can take a moment just to get to know us and understand what our role is. So we were founded in May of 2007 when Google Apps was founded as well. And since then have grown to become one of the Google Apps premier partner and Chrome device resellers. And that includes evaluation, deployment, integration, change management, development, and support services. Seems like that list goes on and on. But really in a nutshell, what I'm saying there is that we have the ability to give you turnkey solutions to take you from your current technical environment onto Google Apps. And we do have the migration experts, so whether you're on Microsoft Exchange, Lotus Notes, GroupWise, Zimbra, Webmail, whichever, we have the ability to get you there. Now on top of that, we have change management and training specialists as well. And this topic really resounds for everybody in session today. We're offering some free tips in this webinar session to learn a little bit about marketing professionals in Google Apps. But if you find that you may be struggling with any of the features and using them effectively, you can always come to us for a little change management and training. And for those that would be making the transition to Google Apps, we can offer that hands-on approach to user adoption. And then last, we also have workflow and development specialists. So if any of you are interested in creating a custom workflow, or you would like a custom script or something created, we do have the ability to customize your current Google Apps experience. And then what is unique about our team, the Dido team, is that we are the authority on mobile and distributed teams because we are a mobile and distributed teams. So it's easy to speak about something when you have that firsthand experience. And within our own organization, we have so many different types of machines. We have some Mac users, some PC users, we have Chromebooks. I know we have iPhones and Androids. So we are truly a mobile team that works cohesively under one environment. So now you know us a little better. Allow me to give you some pointers of using Google Apps as marketing professionals. So we'll dive right into some of the demonstrations and descriptions utilizing the features of Google Apps in your marketing strategies. And if any of the things that we talk about maybe strike a nerve, you need added clarification, or you'd like to just add your own 2 cents on how it's been working effectively for you, feel free to send in a chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we can unmute you so you can ask a question or offer advice verbally. So what we've done here then is we pulled out all the details that Megan actually discussed in our Hangout on Air. So if you missed our Hangout on Air, Megan was our guest speaker. Megan Donovan is our marketing coordinator here at Dido, and she graciously outlined the frequently used features of Google Apps for marketing professionals. So I'm going to pass it over to Megan now to give you some of those first-hand tips of utilizing Google Apps to its maximum potential for your marketing strategies.
Great, thanks for the info, Tina. Again, my name is Megan. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Dido, and I'm excited to share the features that I use frequently in my department. So to get started with the demo, the main features of Google Drive are what we're going to review here. The first being a Google Drive folder. So Tina's going to show you what that looks like in Google Drive. She's going to be my Vanna. So to create a folder, you see it's as easy as clicking this button here. And you can name it however you want. How I utilize it in my department is as a branding directory. So it actually houses all of our branding assets, our graphics, our product information, our white papers, etc. So what I've done is created this folder, and I've shared it out with my entire team. So as you can see, it's listed under Tina's folders in her Google Drive, and we can actually share this with the team very easily. Just by clicking share, you can see Tina start to enter contact information. There is the option to do this in bulk, just so that you're aware of that. You can also, which is really handy, edit the permissions of folders and documents. So what I've done for our branding directory is set it to view only, so that my team can view it, but they can't change anything. So what we do with this folder is it houses all the most current information, and it allows our team to access it when necessary without having to contact marketing or having to go through their emails and look for attachments. And this ensures that they're using the most current information that's available to them. So that's really helpful. The other thing that they do with the folder, and I've heard from my teammates, is that they've actually started, and Tina will show you what that looks like. And to star the folder, you just simply click the button, and that actually makes it a higher priority item. You can see a couple other starred folders listed in her drive, but then they can just go to their starred folder, and the directory is right there listing all the information that they need within a few clicks. So that's really handy for them. That's the first feature in Google Drive that I use really heavily. The second is spreadsheets. As marketers, we're using spreadsheets every day, all day long. And to create, you can see, you just click on the icon, and a new spreadsheet will show. What Tina is going to show you now is an example of our editorial calendar for our blog. This is actually based off a HubSpot resource for our blog here. I've just edited it for our needs. And what this spreadsheet allows me to do is map out our content for the whole quarter. And I can then share that with my content providers, and they can access at their leisure or when they need to this document and know what type of content they need to produce, their deadlines, what the audience is, the call to action, etc. So to share, it's the same as it is with the folder. And again, the permissions are also available there where you can edit or not. And we're going to actually show you what it means to be working in the same document at one time, because that's the real power of the spreadsheet. You no longer have to be concerned about if you're in the most current version, if it's the most updated. So I'm going to pop in here, and you can see on the top right, it's just loading on my end, you can see that there's a new viewer. And from here, you can actually chat with the viewers of the document, and you can track where they are in the spreadsheet, which is really huge, especially when you're trying to add direction or clarification, etc. So Tina just demonstrated the chat, which is great.
Yeah, and I know personally coming from my perspective, so even outside of the marketing department, it really allows me to streamline my processes with Megan, because although you may not have a blog that you're running on your end, I'm sure there are specific scenarios where you need to get bits and pieces of information from team members. And in this specific case, this allows me to pop into this resource, so this blog map, at any time that I get a good idea for a blog, I can just come in here and put my idea down so I have it on paper, and then Megan can go through and approve it, and we always have this constantly flowing.
Great point, Tina. And that leads into the fact that if someone does edit this document and I need to go back into the version history, you can actually, within a spreadsheet, revert back to an old version. So if someone makes an error, or you've just decided to go a new way with your blog, you can. So right here you can see she's clicking on version history, and on the right you can see where you can actually revert back to an old version.
Yep, and it does give you
which is really helpful. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. And it does give you that detailed description too, which helps as well. So you can see by color-coded cursors who made which edits, so you can always be on top.
Great point. All right. And again, it's only one version. So I don't know how many times I've yelled in a past life at another company over a cubicle saying, are you still in the spreadsheet? Have you made your changes? Can I get in there now? So that's completely eliminated with Google Spreadsheets because you're all collaborating on one most current thing. So that's spreadsheets. The next thing I want to highlight in Google Drive that I, again, use on the day-to-day are Google Forms. So again, as easy as clicking the Forms button to create, and Tina's actually going to demonstrate a form that I've created in doing research for a blog. I was trying to collect some survey information. So within this form, you can actually collect different types of questions. So Tina will go ahead and show the different question types from the basic text choice to multiple choice. There's a number of options there. And new this year to forms actually is the ability to go to a page based on an answer. And this is really powerful as marketers. It allows you to tailor that form to your audience. So they're not going to have to answer questions that don't apply to them. So this is an example of the end piece or customer facing form. So if you select yes, you do use Google Apps, you're going to be taken to applicable follow-up questions. What are your favorite features? What's more useful to you? And then if you click no, you're going to be taken to questions about what would you like to learn more about. So that's a great feature, again, to allow you to push respondents in the right path for their answers. Another example of a way you can use forms is as a registration form or a feedback form. And what's great about forms is the way that the information is collected. I'm sorry, I'm getting really excited about spreadsheets. I'm a marketer, it happens. So what happens with forms is all the response information is populated directly and automatically automatically into a spreadsheet. So you can look at it in spreadsheet form or as a graphical representation of that information. And what we've done on our side, we use forms for all of our registrations. What we've done on our side is our salespeople have actually subscribed to notifications. So what that means is that the second someone enters their information into their form, and Tina's actually showing you now how you can very easily do that. You can just click the boxes. You can decide if you want a daily digest or if you want an email right away, which is what our salespeople have done. You get an email automatically when someone enters their information. And on a sales side, that allows them to follow up with that registrant and do their due diligence immediately. And on the marketing side, I'm really interested in the number of registrants I have in my events. And if I see that I don't have, we're not hitting our goal numbers, I can go ahead and make adjustments to our marketing campaign to boost that number, which is really helpful for me. So we talked about notifications. Tina, am I missing anything on the form side that we should talk about?
Nope, just the thing that resonates with me is the automation. I love having everything happen automatically. So even though I'm outside the marketing perspective, coming from the sales perspective, having Megan set everything up like this and having it come through automatically, I need to spend less time planning my task and more time actually completing my task. So having this automation process and having everything come in streamline really benefits me, even though it originates from Megan in the marketing department.
Great point. The next feature that we're going to demo here in Google Drive is actually Google Documents. And these are, we're just going to wait for the screen to catch up here. Google Docs are really useful in the marketing department, and any department for that matter, because it allows you to share the workload and streamline document communication or document creation through collaboration. So this is an example of a document. We use these internally when we're doing a product launch. And Tina, if you want to go ahead and share that link with me in chat, I'm going to jump in.
Sure. And what I'm showing you here is at the very top in the address bar, you can actually take that entire link and copy it. So I'm just doing Control-C here. So I'm taking this link, and it is a living link. So I can just chat this right over to Megan so she can click on that link and come right into the document. So a pretty neat way to draw a sense of urgency to your tasks.
Great. And how we've used this internally is, for example, with the product launch, I'm concerned within the marketing department creating the verbiage and creating the copy that we need to use for our publications. But the technical specs, that's not in my wheelhouse. It would be a miserable example. I'm not very technical, so what I can do is very quickly share this with my development team and give them some direction here in this document that I'm demonstrating. Please complete this section. So I've given them direction in that comment you can see on the right, and they can enter into this document, start filling their portion, all while I'm here talking about how great the time machine is. So the time machine is a great new product, etc. But this is all instantaneous. It's all updated automatically, and you can have a number of viewers or contributors within this document at one time. And again, same with the spreadsheet. You can see on the top right who's viewing, and you can add comments and share within 3 or 2 clicks this document with your team.
Excellent. And we did have a question from Lisa as well. Does this work with Microsoft Word and Excel? So to answer your question, Lisa, if you were using Microsoft Word and Excel and you wanted to get these collaboration features, all you would have to do is just upload that Excel file or Word file, and then you would just convert it to a Google document quite easily. So you would just select the file. So I can just pick one here that's a PDF, and it will ask you if you want to convert it to a Google document. Just check those 2 boxes, and it will convert it to a Google document so you have those collaboration features. And then of course you can always go in the other direction where you can go to File, Download As. So if you need to have it in a Word, PDF, rich text, you can also do that as well. So if you needed more clarification on that, Lisa, feel free to let us know.
Yes, great question. Thanks, Tina. So that's Google Drive in a nutshell. We kind of blasted through it there. There's definitely a lot of features for marketing available in Drive. What we showed you was how you can use a folder to create a branding directory and share that out with your team. We also showed you how you can use a spreadsheet. In our example was an editorial calendar, but really with spreadsheets, the sky's the limit, and you can share those out and collaborate simultaneously. The third thing we showed you was forms. Again, these can be used as registration forms or surveys, feedback, etc. There's a lot of options with forms, and again, the key point there is that it automatically populates into a spreadsheet for easy access. And the last thing we talked about was Google Docs and how easy it is to share the workload and create through collaboration. So the next thing we're going to talk about, and this is a really hot topic, it's Google+. So let's get into the nitty-gritty there. Google+, if you have not created a page for your company or claimed your local spot, please do. I highly recommend it. The latest research is showing that your Google Plus page can create as many links as a Twitter presence. So that's really powerful. We as marketers were concerned with sharing our content with our audience and making that link with our audience. So go ahead and do that. What we're going to show you now, this is just the Google Plus feed. We're going to take you to Dido's actual company page. That's here. You actually have the option to do about, photos, videos, etc. You can limit it to whatever's applicable to your business. And this is just, again, a great way to promote your product, promote your brand, and your events. So you see that we have some photos there. Where Tina's cursor is here is where it'll actually post the information. And what I'd like to talk about now is how you can restrict that information. So with Google+, you have the opportunity to share it as public, as you see on the screen now, or you can share it just internally. So that you can basically have a social network for your domain, as in your company and your employees. So what we've done is we've created a number of communities, both internal and external. An example of one of our external communities is about to populate here. So these communities are great for knowledge sharing. We have one, Google Apps for Small Business, where you can communicate about how you're using the tools of Google Apps. As an internal community, what we've actually created is a hot topics community, which our employees can use to discuss those hot topics without fear of it being public facing. So you can actually limit the audience, again, to just your employees.
Great. And Megan, we had a question for you as well from Sarah. Sarah says that she's having trouble unlinking her business's Google Plus page from her personal accounts. Do you have any advice on that?
You know, Sarah, we've had some trouble with that here recently, or rather in the past. I'm going to follow up with you after. I have some resources there on how you can unlink without fear. Good question, though. So the next thing in Google Plus I'd like to talk about is our events. Again, you can create internal or external events. What we're going to show you here are our external-facing events. Again, our webinars, our Hangout on Airs, as well as our on-site events are all listed here. You might have even registered for this event through this page. And within the external events, what's really cool and what I love as a marketer is the instant upload. So we've enabled this for our employees that attend our on-site events. And what this does, it allows them to instantly upload pictures from the event to the post on Google+. And we all know that a picture says 1,000 words, so Google actually, or Google Plus recognizes that the time is the time of the event and it uploads it automatically. It's amazing. We can also create internal events, and we have one going right now for our spring event, and that allows us to share pictures from our picnic without sharing incriminating evidence about what happens at a Dido picnic. So that's been really great for us. So that's just a high level of Google+. Again, please take advantage of this social platform for your business. I don't know if I mentioned it, but similar to Twitter, to share your information, you can use hashtags to meet your audience. So again, we toured Dido's page, we talked about limiting audiences, and about instant upload. Great, so the next thing I want to talk about is YouTube. Y'all might be familiar, I don't know why I just went Southern there, with YouTube as a consumer product, but it does, from a marketing standpoint, have features for the enterprise. So we're going to actually show you our Dido Video Manager page. So we're going to log in here. Tina's doing a great job as my Vanna. So this is actually the external page for visitors. If you're not familiar with our YouTube, please take a minute to review it. You'll see all of our Hangout on Airs as well as our instructional videos. Also, if you haven't been to your company YouTube page in a while, please do, as they've updated the format. Everything's a little different, and you have an opportunity for some more public-facing branding than you used to in the past. So again, this is our customer-facing page. At the bottom, if Tina, would you mind, or at the top there, you can actually see our most current videos scrolling through, which is great. And we're going to have Tina log in so we can show you some analytics, which again, as marketers, we're really interested in. Great, thanks. So that is the video of our Hangout on Air. On the right, you can see that you have options to look at the stats. Obviously, our viewership is relatively low, and as a marketer, that's a sign that I need to be finding new channels to get this information out. The newest research says that the most successfully shared videos experience intense sharing in the first 3 days. So you really need to get that information out there, stat on social media, etc., that you have this new video. So Tina, would you click into the stats for the new compose on the right? Great, thanks. So you can see the actual views, the estimated minutes watched, and again, as a marketer, you can use this information to realign your marketing campaign if this is one of your priorities. Great. So that's YouTube. Thank you, Tina. The last thing that we want to talk about is analytics, and again, analytics is a beast all its own, so we're just going to do a real high level kind of introduction to analytics. So let's take a look at those. What we're going to start with is, this is actually some data from one of our landing pages, and what I've done is actually been able to use this information to find our pockets of interest, meaning where we have a high population of people who are either researching Google Apps or looking for resources, etc. So what I've done is actually target Texas. You can see it's a little darker blue than the rest of the states, and I can actually drill down, and on the next slide you'll see I can see exactly where the pockets are, and based on this information I've actually planned an event in Houston because that's the darkest area. And if Tina, you want to go to the next slide, we can see that there's 45 visits, but that's pretty amazing considering that, well, to me at least, that this is a relatively new page, you know, not even a few days old, and it's had this much popularity, especially in Houston. So as a marketer, you can use your analytics to tailor your campaign or, again, guide your campaign.
Fantastic.
Great. And thanks, Tina. And if anyone has any questions about marketing, or if you need some advice or want to share how you're using it, please feel free to email me. You can see my address there. Love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Megan, and giving us some of your expert tips that you use. So we looked at Google Drive and how sharing and building your brand with folders can help you create and manage the documents that you have. Also, we looked at Google+, so putting your brand out there and controlling how you're sharing those with your circles and if you're sharing internally or externally. And then we also looked at YouTube. So getting the face of your brand out there and getting those basic statistics then on the viewership of those videos. Also, analytics to get more in-depth statistics about your website. So maybe your company website or maybe an intranet that you have or project sites that you have, so you can learn where your hotspots are if you are targeting a large audience. So you don't have to just throw a dart at the map. Megan had a much more effective process in creating marketing events and targeting individuals that are in fact interested. So I'm sure you got some food for thought today, and I do want to extend an invitation to everybody on this webinar to join us for other events in our series. We do have a Google Apps happy hour coming up. Nobody can turn down a happy hour. That is May 14th, so next week, 5:30 to 7. So if you are in the Washington, D.C. metro area, come on out. You can find information on our webpage, www.didoweb.com. You can easily register there so you can learn more about Google Apps at this happy hour. Also, please feel free to reach out to any of us for more information. Sarah, I know Megan said that she was going to follow up with you about unlinking that business page from your personal account, but if there are other questions, feel free to reach out to us. My email is tina@didoweb.com. Megan is megan@didoweb.com. And you can also find useful resources on our blog. There's one useful resource that I wanted to leave everyone with today, and there is a blog specifically for marketing professionals. So Megan was kind enough to write this blog up, and it's an excellent blog because it gives you all these descriptions along with screenshots. And to make it easy for everyone, I'm just going to enter that link right into the chat window of this webinar so you can easily find it, share it out with others, and post any questions that you may have right on that blog, and we can always get back to you. So at this time, I would like to open up the floor for general questions. If you have questions about Google Apps in general, feel free to let us know. If you have specific questions and you want to pick Megan's brain about some marketing strategies, feel free to enter those questions as well, and we will be sure to address any and all questions that come through. Okay, so first question here from Margaret. So Margaret is asking about offline capabilities. So yes, there are offline capabilities. Since the question was just kind of general asking about offline, I'll just give you the three big ones. If you need more clarification, Margaret, feel free to let me know. So with offline, you do have the ability to take your email, calendar, and documents offline. And since we talked about documents and Drive the most, I do want to point out that in your Drive, you can go offline with your documents. All you'd have to do is just enable offline, which I already have, and Google recently revamped this where it would take your 100 most recent documents offline, and now it actually takes your 4,000 most recent documents offline. So I can guarantee when you go offline, you're definitely going to have access to what you need. So you do have that ability to go offline. And then, of course, you have the ability to do the Drive sync. So we can see on my taskbar here, I have my Google Drive. And under those preferences, I have the ability to choose what folders I want to sync with my local machine. So if you're going to be getting on an airplane and you have a specific marketing campaign that you're going to be addressing, or maybe as a marketing professional, a presentation that you're about to help out with, you can choose to sync certain folders. So like I said, you can take mail, calendar offline. I wanted to show you Drive and Docs offline because that's what we were targeting the most. So Margaret, feel free to let me know if you needed more clarification on that question. Okay, our second question here then is from Paul. So Paul is asking what is part of the Google platform and then what is extra. So at the beginning of the presentation, I just gave you an overview, a walkthrough of the applications that are part of Google Apps. So everything on here is part of the package. Google Vault is something extra, but you do get the Mail, the Drive, Google Plus. You can do that video conferencing. It's part of the package, and it works across multiple devices, so don't hesitate to use it. Google Calendar, Talk, all these things do come part of that package. And then the additional resources that we talked about, like I said, the Hangouts on Air come part of the package. You can get Google Voice, so everyone can have unique Google Voice numbers. The YouTube, that is easily integrated into Google Apps, so like we showed you, you can have your own YouTube channel. And then Chrome you can just get on your own. It's not an added cost or anything. And Analytics, and then AdWords as well. AdWords would be an additional Google service. Our next question, just give me a quick moment to read here from Richard. So Richard is asking, how do you share Google Documents with people that are not on Google? So that's a really great question. So if you're going to be collaborating and living in this wonderful world of Google, working together, there are the times when maybe you want it in a different format. So I did show you that you can take a Google document. So I have a document here, and I can download it as Microsoft Word, PDF, rich text, plain text, different options here. Similar to the documents, you can take the spreadsheets and download them as Excel, PDF as well. Or one thing that's really useful is you can send it as an attachment. So when you take that option, you have the ability to start in the Google environment so you can collaborate with one another. And if you need to send it as an attachment, which often happens as PDFs, you can just select to send it as an attachment. It will automatically take that document for you, convert it to whatever format you wish, and send it out in an email. So you see here you can construct your email right from the actual document. So that's one thing that is pretty neat. And then the last thing I do want to show you, Richard, is that you can choose your sharing permissions. So right now this document is private, but if I change it to anyone with the link, that means that I can share this document by just the link. So I could copy this link, I could compose a message, and I could say, click here for my wonderful flyer for my organization or whichever. But I could just add that link here. So now I can turn that text into a link, which is actually the document. So even if I'm emailing somebody in Outlook and Lotus Notes and Google Apps, it can just be a link that you share out, and it's just by link. It's not public on the web, so nobody can go and just find that document. So that was a really good question. And a next question here is from Solus. So Solus is asking, how long does a deployment take? You mean how long does it take to move over to Google? So that's a good question too, Solus. So the answer to that is between 30 and 90 days. Depending on how many users you have, so it's hard for me to give you an exact number without knowing your number of users or knowing your specific technical environment. So typically it is between 30 and 90 days depending on how many users you have, and I do invite everyone, not just Solus, if you have specific questions about that, you can learn more about it on our website, didoweb.com, or you can email us specifically so we can give you better, accurate estimates and even quotes if you need for learning how to get over to Google. So I apologize for that long-winded answer, Solus, but the long and short of it is between 30 and 90 days we can get you testing, get you set up, and get you working successfully in Google. So I believe I was able to get through those questions there, just taking one last look to make sure I didn't accidentally skip over any questions. And it looks like I was able to get through all of the questions for this session. But if any questions arise later, feel free to contact us either on the website or you can get a hold of us individually. Again, you can email Megan at DidoWeb or Tina at DidoWeb.com. I thank you all for attending this session today. Megan was able to give us some really good food for thought on applying the Google Apps features for marketing professionals. So thank you all for attending today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.